Welcome back to Inspiration for an Elegant Week. I grew up in England, where as a society we were taught never to show our feelings, never to talk about how we felt, and that actually asking for something we might need was completely inappropriate and totally selfish. Mustn't grumble and stiff upper lip were the orders of the day. It's taken me a long time to get beyond this, and asking for what I need is still something I'm working at doing. Victorian novelist Charles Dickens understood this only too well when his famous character, orphan Oliver Twist, asks for a second bowl of gruel. "More?" says an incredulous Mr. Bumble, the man in charge of the workhouse. His tone suggests we should all know and be satisfied with our place. By expressing a need, Oliver had committed the worst of crimes, challenging the system. And of course, his request was denied, and he got into even more trouble. In my coaching work, I spend a great deal of time helping people to navigate their relationships. Many of the disappointments, frustrations, feelings of overwhelm, and even physical health issues I see come from when we don't ask for what we need. I remember when I was 8 years old, I ended up in hospital with a leg injury. One morning I woke up feeling really ill, but I didn't feel that I could make a fuss and ask for help. When the nurse took my temperature, it was 104 degrees, and it turned out I contracted measles. Even surrounded by nurses and doctors, I simply couldn't ask for help. Asking can be fraught with difficulty. We often feel that people should instinctively know what we need, particularly close people, and so we don't ask at all. This puts them in the impossible position of having to guess or remain oblivious to the need, with no chance of fulfilling it, even if they wanted to. Sometimes we don't ask because we're frightened of the response, or we've already projected what the answer will be. Or we don't ask because we don't know who to ask, or we ask in such a roundabout way that our needs are totally misunderstood. Or we delay asking, letting our frustration build to the point that when we finally do, we become so domineering and demanding that the last thing people want to do is listen. Or worse, we act out aggressively in ways that can even become dangerous. All of this results in unhappiness and misery for everyone involved. It turns out, in fact, that by not asking for what we need, that's the really selfish thing to do. Recently, I needed someone to teach Dennis Watlington how to use an iPad. 4 years after his strokes, he was feeling well enough to try it. I didn't have a clue who to ask. Then, quite independently, one of his nursing assistants asked me what could be done to best help Dennis. So I told her what we needed. A man at the next table overheard and said, "My son teaches computers to people with disabilities. He'd love to help." If I hadn't been prompted to ask for what we needed by the nurse, the man would never have known I needed help. If his son hadn't asked him to keep an eye out for a job, he would never have known to mention him to me. This is the magic of asking. One simple request sends out ripples. When our needs are met, it helps others to meet theirs. When we don't ask, we deny ourselves and we deny others. Knowing how and when to ask is one of the most important tools we have for living a life with more inner elegance. But first, you need to step into your elegant space and be really clear in your heart and mind what it is you need, and make sure you ask assertively but not aggressively. Pick your moment. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Asking your partner to cook dinner the moment they walk in after a long day won't be received as well as asking after they've settled in with a shower. Asking your boss for a pay raise when she's having a stressful day will only overload her, and all you do is present her with one more problem. Prepare the ground and be clear about your value and your commitment. And state these first before you ask for what you need. I've met my sales target for this month. Please, can I take Friday off? Be direct and specific. Please, can you finish that report by 5 p.m. is way more effective than, it would be great if we could get that report finished. It's unreasonable to expect if you don't ask properly. Be bold and don't water down your request because you're frightened of being turned down. It's not often we're offered more than we ask for, so don't leave what you need to chance. You'll probably get what you need, or at least some of it. And if your request is denied, don't take it personally. At least you'll know where you stand and you can act accordingly. Be clear when it comes to your boundaries. It's much better to let people know what you will and won't tolerate. Then they have all the information they need to either fulfill your needs or to walk away. When you're the one being asked, be mindful that it may have taken a tremendous amount of courage to approach you. Be honest in your reply, and if you can't or don't want to fulfill the need, say so in a way that's clear and kind. Thank you for the lovely invitation, but I'm sorry I can't make it. And if you're someone who people tend to ask a lot of, make sure that you know how to ask too. Many generous-hearted people get burnt out when they give and don't ask in return. We all need to have our needs met. It's what makes the world turn. Thank you for watching. Whatever role you're playing, partner, parent, friend, boss, co-worker, asking for what you need gives others the gift of being an authentic part of your life and you in theirs. The next time you need something, don't be afraid and don't project what the answer will be. Just ask. You never know who may be listening. Have a peaceful and productive week.